In this episode, we talk about the recommendations of the Justice Biplab Serma committee and how the Assam government plans on implementing them. We also talk about the Odisha government employees being able to avail maternity and paternity leave even in cases of parenthood by surrogacy. But first, we talk about the murder of a 29-year-old in Bengaluru. Hi, I am Niharika Nanda and you are listening to 3 Things, the Indian Express news show. In a bone-chilling incident, a woman's dismembered body was found stored in a refrigerator at a flat in Bengaluru's Valley on 21st September. It was the body of a 29-year-old Mahalakshmi, wife of Hemant Das, who was staying alone at the flat. The police recovered 28 pieces from the 165-litre refrigerator. The body was discovered when neighbours of the victim noticed a foul smell emanating from the house and informed the flat owner about it. To learn more about the incident and what the police has deciphered through their investigation, we have Indian Express's Kiran Parashar joining us. Kiran, tell us what happened after the neighbours of the victim noticed a foul smell coming from her apartment.
So Niharika, basically I'll take you to the day when this incident came to light. On September 21st, the neighbours of Mahalakshmi is a resident of Vinayak Nagar in Vayali Kaval area, which is in almost heart of the Bangalore. So there was a foul smell emanating from Mahalakshmi's house. So then the neighbor brought it into the notice of the owner, who also called Mahalakshmi's brother and told them that there was some foul smell from the house. At the same time, Mahalakshmi's brother informed her mother, Meena Rana. She told that it was very late to go now and visit her, and she visited the next day. So when they visited the next day around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, when they visited the house, for their shock, the door was just latched from the outside, and upon entering, what they discovered was there was a lot of suffocating smell, one, and another thing, there was a lot of maggots near the refrigerator of the house. The moment they opened the refrigerator door, what they found was the body parts of a human being. So immediately Meena Rana and the house owner, everybody informed the police, and the police arrived to the spot. And upon checking, they confirmed that it was the dead body of a 29-year-old Mahalakshmi who worked as a sales executive in a fashion factory outlet.
Right. And what do we know about the victim Mahalakshmi?
So Mahalakshmi is a 29-year-old woman. Her family hails from Nepal, but 30-35 years ago, her family shifted to Karnataka and they started staying in Nelamangala, which is in the outskirts of Bangalore. So Mahalakshmi is married to one person named Hemant Das, and the couple have a child. Very recently, Mahalakshmi had separated from her husband and she had moved out to Bangalore, and she was staying alone in this 3-storied building where she had rented a house, and she was staying there for last 5 months. So when this incident came to light, first what police did was they started questioning her husband Hemant Das, and who said that he was not having any kind of contact. In the sense, she used to visit her daughter, but he had not come down to Bangalore to meet her, or he did not have any kind of connection with the murder. After that, there were a lot of people who were associated with Mahalakshmi. There was one person who had a relationship with Mahalakshmi. He was also questioned, but there was no leads yet again. Then the police started looking at the details of who was the person who spoke to Mahalakshmi last and when was the time that Mahalakshmi was ever found to be seen outside. So they discovered that after September 2nd, Mahalakshmi had never called anybody and her mobile phone was switched off from September 2nd.
And Kiran, have any FIRs been lodged in the case yet?
So soon after the murder came to light, Mahalakshmi's mother Meena Rana had filed a police complaint at Vayali Kaval police station, and a FIR was filed, and at that point of time the suspected accused was unknown. So a murder case was registered in connection with this specific incident.
Right, and Kiran, you mentioned the suspected accused. So who is this person that you're talking about, and how was he narrowed down as a suspect?
So when police started going and talking to the place where she worked, so the police inquired and questioned some of the colleagues of Mahalakshmi, and they found that there was another colleague of her whose name is Muktiranjan Ray. He was also missing from September 2nd. So immediately the prime suspect in this case was Muktiranjan Ray. Police tried to identify or to find his house, and they eventually found his house, but they found that Muktiranjan Ray was missing from the house. So then they immediately contacted his brother, who also lives in Bangalore. So when police went to Muktiranjan Ray's brother to question, then they came to know that Muktiranjan Ray had called him over the phone and told that he had killed Mahalakshmi and had asked his brother to move away from the city because he knew that police would come to his door and question him. Then the police got some kind of idea that Muktiranjan Ray could be the prime accused in this case. So upon checking, it was discovered that Muktiranjan Ray had taken a train to go to West Bengal, and his last call that was active, or his mobile phone was active, was in part of West Bengal.
And we hear that this person, the prime suspect of the case, has committed suicide.
So a couple of teams were left to West Bengal and Odisha. Odisha because Muktiranjan Ray hails from Odisha state. So a couple of police teams from Bangalore left to all these places. While they were searching for Muktiranjan Ray, there was no information about Muktiranjan Ray. What happened was, on September 25th, in Dusuri police limits of Odisha, they discovered a dead body of a 31-year-old man, and it was not very hard to track because he belonged to a neighboring village called Buinpur. So the local police, the Dusuri police, found out that Muktiranjan Ray had committed suicide. So this information was shared to Bangalore City Police, who were also searching for Muktiranjan Ray, and they discovered that Muktiranjan Ray had committed suicide. He had left a 3-page death note in which he had confessed that he had killed Mahalakshmi as she was pestering him to get married. So the investigations later have said that Mahalakshmi and Muktiranjan Ray were reportedly in a relationship, and Mahalakshmi was forcing him to marry, which Muktiranjan Ray was not interested because he believed that she was also in relationship with another man.
Right. And Kiran, tell us about the investigation and what happened according to it.
What police suspect is, on September 2nd, Mahalakshmi, who was on her week off, had met Muktiranjan Ray at her residence, and the couple had argued over some issue, some dispute, and in a fit of rage, Muktiranjan Ray has hit Mahalakshmi and she has collapsed. So after she died on September 3rd, he has left the body in the house in the late night, and on September 3rd around 11 a.m. he has bought some knife and other materials and have cut the body of Mahalakshmi into many pieces, and then he has stored that in a 165 liter single door fridge. So the body parts, everything was kept inside the fridge. The investigations also suggested that Muktiranjan Ray might have tried to carry this dead body in a suitcase. He may have failed because there was an empty suitcase that was found in her house. So after that, he might have kept that body inside the fridge and he has left the house. So nobody has noticed it for the next nearly 20 days when her mother came and opened the door.
And we hear that the mother of Muktiranjan Ray also talked to the local media. So what did she had to say about this incident?
According to Muktiranjan Ray's mother, who spoke to the local media in Odisha, she said that Muktiranjan Ray had confessed to the killing that he had done. He had arrived to the residence only a day before he committed suicide. So he had come around 10 p.m. to the house, and he said that he had killed a woman. When the mother asked, did you chop the body and all, he remained silent and he did not respond to anything. The woman's name is Kunjalata Ray. So according to Kunjalata Ray, the mother of Muktiranjan Ray, so basically he said that the woman was demanding ₹1 lakh and she threatened to give a police complaint if he failed to do so, and there were a lot of disputes from which he had lost his peace of his mind. He did not speak anything much in the night, and at 4 a.m. in the morning he took out his father's two-wheeler and he left the house carrying a laptop bag, and by 8:15 this suicide incident had come to light.
And how did the victim's family react to this incident?
The family of the victim was totally devastated because they had no clue of what has happened. They didn't even know that they were in a relationship. And also last month she had visited Nelmangla to see her daughter and also to meet her husband in order to take some money from him. So otherwise Mahalakshmi's mother Meena Rana was in touch with her over phone. But from September 2nd, Mahalakshmi turned incommunicado. And mother also did not bother to check what has happened. So whenever she called, the mobile phone was switched off.
Right. And Kiran, now how do we see this case going forward?
Going further, a team of Bangalore City Police is in Odisha. Basically, now the death note which Mukti Ranjan Ray has left, it is a court document. So they will have to get the death note with the permission of the court. So once the Bangalore City Police get that, in the days to come, they will file a charge sheet. In the charge sheet, they will also mention about this death note and they will also hand it over to the local court here in Bangalore. Probably this case ends there. It doesn't go beyond as the accused in this case has already died.
And next we talk about the Assam Accord. Earlier this month, the Assam government announced that Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma is all set for the implementation of 52 recommendations of the Justice Biplab Serma committee regarding the Clause 6 of the Assam Accord. This comes more than 4 years after the centre-appointed high-level committee finalized its report back in February 2020. The recommendations of the committee dealt with some major issues like defining the term Assamese people, as in all the people who will fit under the ambit of the term Assamese people and will accordingly be eligible for certain safeguards and more. To learn why this committee was formed, what were its recommendations and how the Assam government plans on implementing them, we have Indian Express's Sukrita Baruah joining us. Sukrita, begin by telling us about the Clause 6 of the Assam Accord.
So the Assam Accord is an agreement that had been signed between the then Rajiv Gandhi government and the All Assam Students Union in 1985. And this was at the end of a 6-year-long agitation that had taken place in Assam, which is now called the Assam Agitation, which was essentially against alleged uncontrolled illegal immigration from Bangladesh into the state. So it wanted to address that, and the Assam Accord had been signed at the end of this. Clause 6 is a particular section of this accord which states that, I quote, constitutional, legislative and administrative safeguards as may be appropriate shall be provided to protect, preserve and promote the cultural, social, linguistic identity and heritage of the Assamese people. This is a particular section of the accord.
Right. And what is the Biplab Serma committee report and why was the committee formed in the first place?
Now, as you know, that the question of illegal immigration continues to be a major source of anxiety for the Assamese population, and a lot of politics here circles around that particular issue. Now, in 2019, a 14-member committee had been constituted by the Home Ministry, and it comprised judges, retired bureaucrats, writers, ASU leaders and journalists. And it was chaired by a retired judge, Biplab Kumar Sharma. And this came to be known as the Biplab Serma Committee. Now, the mandate of this committee was to suggest ways to implement this clause. So, as you can see that the clause itself is pretty sweeping, it's, in broad strokes. So, to suggest ways to actually implement this, concrete suggestions. And it's interesting to note that this was the second such committee that had been formed. An earlier committee had been formed in February that year. But the participants of that committee refused to participate because of Assam was in the throes of, protests against the Citizenship Amendment Bill. Now, this committee had submitted its report way back in February 2020. But so far, it's kind of been lying dormant. There hasn't been much discussion on it until this month, when Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma said that in a cabinet meeting that was held in Lakhimpur, the Assam cabinet resolved and gave in principle agreement to implement, at that time he said 57 of the recommendations made in this report.
Right. And what definition of the term Assamese people was derived by the committee?
So actually, this particular report has never been released in the public domain. But like I said, it was submitted in February 2020. Until August 2020, there was no discussion on it. So, given that there was not a lot of forward movement till August 2020, 4 of the members of this committee came forward and divulged, some of the material in the recommendations. So, one of the key questions that was before this committee, along with suggesting recommendations for these kind of constitutional, legislative and administrative safeguards, was actually coming up with a definition of Assamese people. So, who are these Assamese people that these safeguards will apply to? So, when in August 2020, these 4 members came forward and spoke about it, they revealed that this definition of Assamese people, I'll just get into the technical definition first, should include indigenous tribals as well as other indigenous communities of Assam, all other citizens of India residing in the territory of Assam on or before 1st January 1951, and indigenous Assamese and their descendants. So a key date here is 1951. So you're saying that apart from, the tribes of Assam or, what they're calling indigenous Assamese, it includes all those people of India who were in Assam before 1st January 1951. So this is essentially a cutoff date for determining who qualifies as Assamese under Clause 6 of the Assam Accord and who is eligible for these safeguards.
But does this definition raise certain concerns or questions?
So you know that Assam has gone through an NRC exercise, which was also on the basis of another clause of the Assam Accord, which is Clause 5 of the Assam Accord, which set a cutoff date of 1971. So the people who are to be included in the final NRC of Assam are people who were in Assam before 1971. So, if you compare these two cutoff days, there are actually 2 categories of people here. There would be a section of people who entered Assam between 1951 and 1971 who qualify to be a part of the NRC. So they are citizens, but they don't qualify as Assamese people under this definition, and they will not be eligible for the safeguards under Clause 6 of the Assam Accord. So this is something that is contentious, and at that time when this was revealed, this was said to be something that the Home Ministry in particular was a little, concerned about.
Right. And Sukrita, what were the major recommendations that were given by this committee?
So there are 3 kinds of things that I mentioned here, right? Constitutional, legislative and administrative safeguards. So the key recommendations that were made by the committee were actually to do with reservations for these Assamese people as defined by them, right? And these include, up to 100% of Assam seats in parliament. There are 15 seats from Assam in the parliament, in the Lok Sabha. So 80 to 100% of Assam seats in the parliament reserved for these Assamese people as defined. The same proportion for Assam's assembly and local bodies, inclusive of, the reservations that are already in place. And it also recommended that these reservations for Assamese people extend to jobs. So 80 to 100% of jobs under the government of Assam and state government undertakings, and even 70 to 100% of vacancies in private partnerships, including, those under the PPP model. So this is a very sensitive recommendation that was made, and this applies to Assamese people as defined. One of the other recommendations was the implementation of an inner line permit regime in Assam. So the inner line permit regime is, you require special permissions to enter certain states in the northeast like Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh. So you need an ILP to enter these states. So they recommended a similar thing to be put in place in Assam. They also recommended the creation of an upper house of the Assam Assembly, so a legislative council of Assam, which is only to be reserved for Assamese people as defined by it. Now, these are the most sensitive, the trickiest recommendations that were made by the committee.
And from what we hear, the Assam government said that they could implement only some and not all of these recommendations. So why was that?
When the Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, is talking about the recommendations that it will implement, it does not include these recommendations that I just mentioned. So he said that recommendations such as these come under the exclusive domain of the central government. So these can only be implemented through the intervention of the central government. Some of them even require amendments to the constitution So he said that since we cannot do anything about it as a state government, we will address another 52 recommendations. He divided them, as 40 recommendations which come under the exclusive domain of the state government, which can be implemented by the state government alone, and another 12 which require the concurrence of the center. And he has said that we commit to implement the rest of these by April 2025.
So which are these recommendations that the Assam government plans on implementing?
So these recommendations, they're largely under the categories of protection, land protections, language protections, and measures for protecting Assam's cultural heritage. So some examples of the land protections include the creation of revenue circles where only Assamese people as defined can own and possess land and buy land in these areas. And another is time-bound program to allot land titles to Assamese people as defined who have been occupying land for decades but don't have land titles yet. Under language recommendations, some examples are making it compulsory for all state board and CBSE schools in the state for them to make it compulsory to study the Assamese language up to class 8 or 10, and making it compulsory for all government orders, rules, acts to be issued in Assamese along with English. And in cultural heritage, which are smaller measures like, providing finances to Khotras, which are the Vaishnavite monasteries in Assam, and giving, finances to various cultural bodies and all that. There are a bunch of recommendations along these lines. So these recommendations, the Assam government has said we will implement by April 2025.
Right. And these recommendations, will they be implemented over the entire state?
The Chief Minister, he said that these 52 recommendations he's saying that they will implement will not apply to the Barak Valley of Assam. So the Barak Valley is a primarily Bengali-speaking region of Assam, which is geographically contiguous with Bangladesh. It's along the Bangladesh border. There are 3 districts in it, Kachar, Hailakandi and Karimganj. He said that these recommendations will not apply there. And we also have 6 scheduled areas in Assam. So these are Bodoland Territorial Council, the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council, and the Dima Hasao Autonomous Council. So these are mostly, tribal areas, and there are autonomous councils set up under the provisions of the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution. So they have special protections. So he's saying that these will only be applied there if the autonomous councils there will it to be so. So effectively not applicable to the Barak Valley, not applicable to the tribal 6 schedule areas.
Right. And Sukrita, what kind of reactions has this entire idea and this entire announcement received?
So after the meeting with ASU leaders on earlier this week, Samujal Bhattacharya, who's a long-time advisor for ASU, he welcomed this and said that, it's good that this is finally happening. But opposition leaders, which include Lurinjyoti Gogoi, so Lurinjyoti was actually a member of the Biplab Serma committee. Since then, he left the ASU and he's formed his own political outfit, which is part of the opposition alliance in Assam led by the Congress. So these opposition leaders, which include members who are part of the Biplab Serma committee, are saying that this is too late. And they're questioning, where the center stands in all of this, which is a crucial part, because they're saying that the Biplab Serma committee was constituted by the Home Ministry of the Union government. So essentially it's a tripartite kind of committee that was formed, with the Home Ministry, the state government and the committee members. But they are saying that it was never actually received by the Home Ministry. So it was received by the then Chief Minister of Assam, Horbananda Sonowal. And they're saying that, the recommendations that have been listed by the state government as, being the ones that they will implement are things that, according to them, it's well and good. These are things that the state government can go ahead and implement, and they should. But they are saying that the true essence of these recommendations, what Assam Congress Chief Bhupen Bora called the soul of the report and the recommendations, are these constitutional protections. So the reservations, the inner line permit, the upper house, these core things are not among the recommendations that are to be implemented. And they're saying that, we need the center to actually be on board with this. So unless that happens, it doesn't really amount to much. They're calling it a political eyewash. They're saying, Assam is going to see state assembly elections in 2026. So they're saying, this is to divert attention, from misgovernance and so on. I'm just quoting them. So this is coming up to, divert the people and make it seem like the government is doing something about this long-standing issue while not addressing the heart of the matter.
And how did Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma react to these allegations?
What Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has been saying is that, and I'm just relaying what he said, for so long we've been concerned about, how these difficult parts should be implemented, that the ones that are easier to implement have also been, neglected for so long. So we're saying let's go ahead, implement the easier things. And in the meantime, we will appeal to the centre to come and have talks with ASU and, start working towards implementing and, introducing the necessary constitutional amendments.
And in the end, we talk about maternity and paternity leaves. Odisha government employees can now avail maternity and paternity leaves in case of parenthood that has been made possible via surrogacy. The Mohan Majhi government has approved 180 days of leave for mothers and 15 days for fathers in such cases. Indian Express's Sujit Bisoi reported that a notification from the State Finance Department issued last week said, quote, "A state government female employee having less than 2 surviving children who becomes a surrogate mother shall be eligible for maternity leave of 180 days." Unquote. According to the notification, a surrogate mother here means a woman who agrees to bear a child through surrogacy from the implantation of the embryo in her womb and fulfills the conditions as provided in subclause B of clause 3 of section 4 of the Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021. Sujit reports that a state government female employee having fewer than 2 surviving children who becomes a commissioning mother, a biological mother who uses her egg to create an embryo implanted in the other woman, shall be eligible for maternity leave of 180 days. Sujit also adds a male employee of the state government having fewer than 2 surviving children who becomes a commissioning father, that is the biological father of the child through surrogacy, shall be eligible for a paternity leave of 15 days within the period of 6 months from the date of delivery of the child. The notification said, quote, "If both surrogate mother and commissioning mother are state government employees, both will be eligible for 180 days of maternity leave each." Unquote. While the state government has now been providing maternity leave of 180 days to female employees, to natural and adoptive mothers, and 15 days of paternity leave to male employees, this provision for surrogacy has been under consideration for a while. While hearing a petition of a female employee who attained motherhood through surrogacy but denied a 180-day leave on 25th June, the Odisha High Court ruled that female employees who become mothers through surrogacy have the same rights to maternity leave and other benefits as provided to natural and adoptive mothers. On 18th June 2024, the Department of Personnel and Training notification of the Union Government has extended maternity leave and paternity leave benefits to central government employees attaining parenthood through surrogacy. You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by me, Niharika Nanda. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it. Share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Audio and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.